Hello everyone, welcome to the Infant and Toddler Early Development Guidance course. I am teacher Lee Wendy. Today we will delve into an area full of emotional intensity and budding social skills. Emotional and social development and learning support for toddlers aged 19 to 24 months. Toddlers at this stage have an unprecedentedly rich inner world. They begin to realize they are independent individuals and actively explore how to interact with others and the world. Understanding and supporting them is the core of our lesson today. Today's lesson is again divided into two parts. First, understanding the characteristics of emotional and social development in toddlers aged 19 to 24 months. Second, strategies for supporting emotional and social learning in toddlers aged 19 to 24 months. Toddlers aged 19 to 24 months have a core characteristic in their emotional and social development: the awakening of self and the exploration of relationships. This is specifically reflected in the following characteristics. First, heightened self-awareness. This is the infant's first declaration of psychological independence. They clearly realize they are separate individuals, distinct from their mother and others. The most typical manifestation is the explosion of ownership awareness. My mommy, my toy, my cookie. This mine is not just a claim of ownership, but is core to their self-identity. Along with this comes the well-known defiant behavior. When you say no, he might loudly say no. This is not deliberate misbehavior, but rather him confirming his own power and boundaries through action. Second, rich emotional experiences but weak regulation skills. The emotions of toddlers at this stage are like an active little volcano, full of joy, affection, anger, frustration, and jealousy. For example, they may immediately show displeasure upon seeing their mother hold another child. However, the prefrontal cortex responsible for emotional regulation is far from mature. Therefore, emotions come and go quickly, often manifesting as stormy tantrums. This is because they have their own ideas and desires, but lack the ability to achieve them or are prevented from doing so. The immense frustration can only be vented in the most primal ways. Third, budding social desire, but skills need improvement. Toddlers aged 19 to 24 months begin to show strong interest in social interaction. They will observe and even imitate other children's behavior. However, the social model at this stage is initially parallel play. They like to play next to other children, but usually play separately, and do not yet have true cooperation, sharing, or turn-taking awareness. Sharing is an advanced skill that goes against their instinct of mine. So, fighting over toys is common. Fourth, the emergence of empathy. The appearance of empathy in 19 to 24-month-olds is a very heartwarming developmental signal. When you appear sad or in pain, he might stop what he's doing and look at you with concern, or even try to comfort you in his own way, like offering his beloved blanket to you. This shows he is beginning to perceive and respond to others' emotions, which is the foundation for future pro-social behavior. Having understood this contradictory yet fascinating inner world, what should we do to both nurture their budding self and guide them towards the broader social world? Next, I will share with you strategies for supporting emotional and social learning in toddlers aged 19 to 24 months. First, helping children recognize emotions is the first step in learning to manage them. We need to help toddlers accept emotions, name emotions, and model emotional management for them. Effective methods include: first, empathize and help label the emotion. When a toddler cries because his blocks fell down, our first step isn't to reason with him, but to empathize, hold him, look into his eyes and say, "The blocks fell down, you feel very sad and also angry, right?" The magic of this sentence is that it gives the child's vague yet intense emotion a name. The feeling of being understood can effectively calm his emotional storm. Second, offer alternative behaviors. After the toddler calms down, we can teach him appropriate ways to express himself. Next time you feel very angry, you can stomp your feet like this. Or tell mommy, but can we try not to hit? Second, we need to establish clear and consistent rules for the toddler, and set limits with gentle firmness. Rules and boundaries are not constraints, but provide the child with predictable security, helping them understand how the world works. In daily life, we can do this by: first, set expectations beforehand. For example, before going to the playground, agree on the rule. We can play for 1 hour. When time's up, we go home, okay? Second, enforce rules gently and firmly. When time is up, the child refuses to leave. We can squat down, hold him, acknowledge his feelings. I know you still want to play. It's hard to leave, but still enforce the rule firmly. This process might involve crying, but staying calm and consistent is key. Third, social skills need to be practiced in real social situations. Therefore, we need to create social opportunities for the toddler and act as translators and guides. For example, we can arrange small playdates. Invite 1 to 2 children to your home. Provide enough similar toys to reduce conflict. When they engage in parallel play, we can describe it. Look, Xiaoming is playing with a car, and you are also playing with a car. If a conflict occurs, we should intervene promptly. Say to child A, "You really want to play with this bear, right?" Then say to child B, "He also likes this bear very much. After you play for a while, can you take turns and let him play? Can we exchange it with this little truck?" We are not forcing sharing, but are acting as social translators, teaching toddlers the skills of communication and taking turns. Finally, we need to encourage autonomy by giving the toddler choices within safe boundaries. Satisfying the toddler's desire for autonomy can effectively reduce power struggles. In daily life, we can offer the toddler limited choices. For example, don't ask, "What do you want to wear?" This can overwhelm the toddler. Instead, hold up 2 items of clothing and ask, "Do you want to wear this red one or this blue one?" This little bit of choice lets him feel a sense of control over his life, making him more willing to cooperate. Students, let's review. Toddlers aged 19 to 24 months have emotional and social development centered on the awakening of self and the exploration of relationships. They have intense emotions, assert ownership, and begin social attempts. Therefore, when providing learning support, first we need to be emotional containers, accepting and helping toddlers name their emotions. Second, be behavioral guides, providing clear and consistent rules. Third, be social bridges, creating opportunities and guiding interactions. Fourth, be supporters of autonomy, granting choices within safe boundaries. Finally, I want to share with you that we are not facing a terrible 2-year-old, but a little explorer who is striving to know himself and integrate into the world. Our understanding, patience, and wisdom are the strongest backing on his exploratory journey. This lesson ends here. Next time we will learn about development and learning support for toddlers aged 25 to 30 months.